Hey everyone, this is Shannon with Thermaltake, and today we're at CES 2015. Now let's check out all the awesome new products we have to show today. And first, we have the new Core X9. This is the new Core series, and as you can see, one very important thing about this is, first of all, it is TT-LCS certified, so you could run some really extreme liquid cooling here, but also they're stackable. So you can see we have a single and a dual. Now, this is huge for us because basically we wanted to expand your systems past just what you're constrained within one box. We want you to be able to build your liquid cooling up top with a system down below, or even two systems on top of each other. However you want to make it, this is going to be the core of your new extreme build. Next up in the Core X series is the Core X2. The Core X9 was based on a full ATX chassis. This one is actually based on micro ATX, so it'll give you a ton of fitment, but in a smaller form factor. So you don't want a gigantic case. This one's still very large to fit a ton of liquid cooling, or once again, being stackable, but you have the option to go a little bit smaller if you don't need the fitment for 4 cards or the full-size ATX motherboard. Now let's take a look at the smallest on the Core X family. And the smallest of the Core X series, the Core X1, is a mini ITX chassis, but once again, this holds huge possibility for radiator fitment, liquid cooling, air cooling, massive amount of hard drives, whatever you want to put in here. Pretty much your imagination is the limit, and you can, once again, you can stack these things. You can go 2 high, 3 high, however you want to build it. You could build a huge mini ITX based server chassis, whatever you wanted to do, you can do it with the Core X series chassis. Now let's take a look at a few other liquid cooling options we have available. Now, with liquid cooling chassis, we have had the ones you saw before, like the Core V1, the little guy of the group, little mini ITX. And then we had the Core V21. However, we didn't show off a whole lot about it stacking, so we wanted to build one to show you guys just how scalable this chassis is when it comes to giving you options and flexibility. Maybe if you don't like the square look of the Core X, you can still go with the Core V21, have huge amounts of fitment, tons of options, so once again, you can build the core the way you want it. Now let's take a look at some really awesome mods we had set up for the new Core X series. Okay, and with the Core X series, we did some really special Core X9 mods. First, we have your very subtle one right here. You can notice it's white. We wiped out the front. This is done by BS Mods. It's basically a full flat panel, so all your airflow is coming from the sides, the top, and the bottom. This is something we wanted to give an idea of what you can do, how you can make it even nicer, sleeker, kind of like what we did with the Urban series. But as you can see, the Core X9 with some work, if you're someone who really likes modding, likes creating a case of your own, Core X9, Core X series in general is awesome. Great possibility for modding, tons of room to do things, and tons of modularity when it comes to taking parts off, modding and making it the way you want it. And speaking of the way you want it, we have Brimstone. This is done by Pennywise, a modder local to us up in northern in Washington. And as you can see, he basically took and stripped the whole thing, cut all the panels out, put custom windows, built custom SSD mounts, full sleeved cabling, hard tubing. He did the full gamut, including a custom front bay reservoir, TT Sports Dragon. He went the full way, including custom lighted feet, which we'll get a good shot in there for you. Basically, they just carry the full effect of fire and brimstone, just an extreme hardcore chassis for those who want to push the best and look the best. Now, all this talk of having liquid cooled chassis, extreme liquid cooling options, that's all well and good. But how can we really prove our mettle in this market without at least having our own parts to fulfill the extreme need for liquid cooling? So we went ahead and we started our custom liquid cooling with a kit. Here you can see this is a 240 base kit. It comes in a box just like this, so as you can see, really compact, has a handle and everything. You could pick it up and carry it, but otherwise, here's what comes inside. A huge D5 combo reservoir, and that has a very big D5 pump on the bottom, so it'll power more than enough blocks for pretty much any system you could build. You have your Pacific W1 water block, which we'll take a look at in the individual components later. You have all the fittings necessary to get it hooked up out of the box. You have your 240 radiator, your red coolant, or we'll have other color options available as well. You have your tubing and 2 Luna fans. Now obviously, since this is a DIY kit, it's able to be expanded once you get it. Let's say you decide you want another radiator, you go with a bigger chassis. Let's say you start with the Core X1 and then you go to the Core X9. You can add another radiator to this very easily. The pump will support it. You can add graphics cards, CPU, you name it, it'll all be supported. Now let's go take a look at the other liquid cooling parts we have going. Okay, now with the liquid cooling, we didn't just want a kit, we didn't want to show we could make a couple radiators. We wanted to give you everything, like the one we showed at Computex here. You could see 3x180, 540 radiator, 480 radiators, you name it, different thicknesses. Whatever you need to fit your chassis, whether you're talking something thin because maybe you don't have a ton of clearance, or pretty much the thickest we have available, we're going to give you an option, something you can use that's going to keep you super cool, maybe running right, running quiet, and just being able to overclock how you want and run it just however you want to build it. We're going to give you that option. Now as for reservoirs, we have all the way down to a like MCP 35 pump with a cylinder reservoir. We have your standard D5. As you can see, we actually did some Tough Power Grand style styling here so that you have the red line. It kind of matches the PSU and other things like that. And then we have the fully custom D5 with a mod kit. So you can see it looks really nice, really clean design with your tube reservoir. And then we have the smaller ones for maybe a more simpler loop, like a smaller, simpler Thermaltake pump with a cylinder reservoir. And even for your small mini ITX based chassis, you've got with or without a pump. It's all here. And then speaking of that, we have things like your very large bay reservoir. Once again, really awesome option, dual 5 1/4, so you could actually put a lot of water volume in there, be able to keep things under control really well. Just a little hint as to where things might be going. As you saw some VGA water blocks in those previous cases. We also have some blocks that will support the card so that, let's say you have a 3-way crossfire SLI system, you could actually put these on top of the blocks and it will actually distribute the water for you without having to run connectors and tubing between each card. We have 2 individual blocks. This is your W1. This is a standard Thermaltake block. And then we have one, as you probably recognize, our friends at Swift Tech we worked with to do the new Apogee block for us. We have a separate D5 with full mod kit, including block and pump mod kit. And then we had something really cool. We like to tinker with stuff, just like the rest of you guys. We like to build extreme stuff, just go crazy sometimes. So we went ahead and we took one of our pumps from our AIOs, took and built a really large radiator to fit it. So as you can see, we now have a 180 based AIO. Whether this will come to market or not, hey, you know what? I guess we'll have to wait and see. But this is more just something we wanted to show. If we have an idea for something, we'll make it, we'll try it, just to show you guys, hey, you know what? We're not afraid to try something different. And speaking of that, we actually have hard tubing here. This is our demo to show. We have hard tubing fittings and salt rigid tubing. Once again, we know it's very popular with the modders, very popular with extreme system builders. We want to support you guys however possible. We want to make sure we have as many options available. Now, moving down the line here, you can see we have tons of fittings from black to chrome, and we have them all laid out on a board so you can see pretty much everything available. We'll get a close-up on that and show you some of the detail on all the different things we got going on. And fans, one of the things we're really known for, once again, we're really expanding that. We know that some of you have tighter chassis fitments, so we went with a 10mm thickness fan in the Luna series. So we're going to have multiple color options on that in the 140 and 120 line. We have different color pier fans so that you have basically different color fan blades rather than just LED. So you can see you have red fan blade or yellow, even blue, or multiple colors to come. Something we recently posted just to kind of show off on our social media, green Luna, because a lot of people were asking for like a green color. So we went ahead and we took it and we made it. Now obviously we're going to expand on that as time goes and as we see a request for it. And air coolers, we didn't forget about those either. We have our Frio Silent. Basically these are all direct heat pipe touch on these two. You have your 14 and your 12. Those are 140mm fan based or 120mm fan based, depending on which one you're looking for and the type of thermal capacity you're looking for. They will stay ultra quiet, give you really good temps without any of the noise concerns you might have with a standard very large air cooler. Now if you're looking for just strictly performance and going nuts, we do have the Frio Silent 14 dual actually here, which is dual 140mm. Similar to our Frio Extreme, except it has silent fans, so it'll actually give you really high performance, except it has much quieter fans, so you don't have to worry as much about some of the fan noise you'd get out of like the Frio Extreme, because that was more based on the just no limits, full performance. This is more based on giving you really good performance, but omitting some of the sound, and it'll probably omit a degree or two compared to the Extreme. And then we have something, we're just kind of showing something a little different here, which is actually custom made just for the new X99 chipset. We actually have a very large Extreme cooler with the clearance so that memory modules will fit. You won't have to worry about, you have to get low profile DIMMs or whatever just to fit your system. It will just work out of the box. Okay, there's one more thing we wanted to show you when it comes to fans and cooling. And as you can see, we have our Ring LED fans, which come in 140 and 120. Those are just being announced. We're just showing these. We don't actually even have a time where they're actually going to be available. These will be coming soon, but we don't have an estimate on when these are going to be available. Now, one really cool thing, touchscreen fan controller. This allows you full touchscreen capability to control your fans, set temperature, or where you're gonna, where you want it to go, because it also has thermal probes that will actually adjust the fan accordingly. So if you put a probe, let's say near your hard drive, and that fan is near your hard drive, it'll actually ramp the fan up if it senses a higher temperature than you need. It will take care of that without you having to have a front panel slide control or turn knob. It will take care of it automatically. You can set it all with touch controls. Now take a look at the few storage options we're showing here. Now, one new device for our storage is the Level 10 miniature. This is based off of our original Level 10 chassis, which was really groundbreaking when we first introduced it in 2009. And we wanted to follow up, with the Level 10 GT, Level 10 GTS, and now we wanted to include it in a different section, which is storage. So if you have a Level 10, now you can have an external enclosure, USB 3.0 compatible, that will support up to SATA 6G, and it'll pretty much, you could saturate the bandwidth with the right size SSD and whatnot, but it's designed exactly like you would have with a Level 10 case. So it's just a really neat way to have your external hard drive. Now, with PSU, one that we really wanted to highlight was our new Platinum Tough Power Grand Series. It runs a full range from 850, 1050, 1200 watts. It is full Platinum certified, fully modular, so you don't have any unnecessary cables. You're literally only the cables you need you're plugging in. New fangirl style, so it's all blacked out. Looks really nice in darker themed cases or something like that, because the previous gold frame fangirl, some people liked it. Some people, if they're building something that's different, they ended up having to paint it and whatnot. We think this black will definitely offset that a bit. Then we have the flat cables that they come with. Now, these are all flat cables like before, but we do have another option. We have our individual sleeved cables, uni sleeves, and these are all different colors from gray to blue to red. We wanted to give you the option so that as you're building your system, you can either build it with the standard black cables come with it, or if you want something with a little different flair, maybe you had a specific color you're going after, you have tons of options here. For those looking for a really good power supply at a great price, we have our always popular TR2 series, now in gold. So you can see, they range from 450 all the way up to 700 plus. Now, this is something that's going to be available right away after CES. It should be hitting stores very quickly. So this is something, if you're looking for something just to build a good small gaming rig, this one will easily handle the load that you're looking for. Gold rated, so it'll save you a ton on power. Just overall, awesome supply, great price. Now let's take a look at a really cool update we did with our new digital power supplies. Okay, now with the DPSG, we just had a recent app update, which will actually be rolling out very soon. This is a new DPSG Platinum. And with that, and even previous DPSG, we can now support the new DPS app interface version 2.0. Now, on the front, it looks like the standard DPS app. However, when you take a look here, there's now a couple new options like CPU, which shows you the watts the CPU is pulling. It shows you the voltage to the 12 volt on the CPU pins. It shows you your amperage it's drawing, even your CPU temperature. But that's not all. We also have VGA information. How many watts it's pulling, how many amps, the 12 volt connection directly connected into it and the voltage it's reading, what temperature the GPU is. And also new sharing and recording options. It gives you a lot of availability along with multiple databases so that you can actually connect into it and be able to control it and look at it remotely and be able to see multiple systems up to as pretty much as many. So let's say you have a huge deployment of systems and you install all DPSG power supplies, you can actually monitor them remotely and see how efficient they're running, how much power it's drawing, if there's any with off time, anything like that can all be remotely monitored via a mobile app. Now let's take a look at that. Now with the DPSG v2.0 software, the new DPS app allows it to be uploaded to the cloud database with Thermaltake as long as you set up an account with us. And then what that does is that gives you remote access via mobile device like you see in the iPad here. It gives you options so you can see like single comparison, total analysis, all kinds of good stuff. Let's go ahead and take a look at the total analysis. Now you have like for instance time, then you just click go. And it'll give you a pie chart or you can set up a line chart and you can see here. like you start the system, then it went to idle, basically went off, then you have to start again as you're starting, you know, retesting a new demo system. Or let's say you wanted to see how much it costs to play it. You can see here, starts up, let's go to a line graph. You can see when we first started it, you know, full power, and then as we play a little game, you can see where it's using power, and then it drops off. And that's where you see that, you know, the system went idle. We weren't playing games on it anymore because, you know, we have to have some fun and try it after we set up our expo setup. And this basically gives you quantifiable data that you can see, real numbers that tell you how much it costs to run your system, how long it was up, things like that. Now that really helps people who maybe have banks of computers or even productivity systems. They can view these real time, see any updates that are given. You can see downtime, you can see how much it costs to complete certain projects, how much it costs to run a whole bank of computers just by monitoring via this app. And this was Thermaltake at CES 2015. And I really hope you liked what you saw here. If you'd like to discuss this product or any others, feel free to join us on our social media channels or our TT community forums. I look forward to seeing you there. This is Shannon at Thermaltake, and thanks for watching.